Hi, I'm Rick Knockby with PreSonus Audio, and we're here at Full Compass showing the new StudioLive 32.4.2AI mixer. So if you're familiar with the StudioLive boards, you will be very familiar with the workflow of the StudioLive 32. However, it is based on a completely new DSP platform, and there's a lot of power underneath the hood. So let me show you a basic overview of what you got here. Okay, the first thing that you have with the StudioLive 32 is obviously 32 mic pre-inputs, and in addition you've got individual phantom power for each one, and you also have the ability on each channel to engage FireWire returns for every channel. So I can toggle between an analog input or a digital input. In addition to 32 mic pre-inputs, you have 14 Auxes, and they're found right here. And basically these can be configured in mono or stereo. So right now let's say aux 1 is configured in mono. If I wanted to make these a stereo pair for, let's say, in-ears, all I do is select either one of these and hit the link button, and now these are a stereo pair. And to assign something to the Auxes is really quite simple. You just hit the mix control. Now I can assign any channel here, and then when two channels are linked, this mix control gives you panning for the stereo aux. In addition to having 32 mic preamps, the StudioLive 32 also gives you 14 aux sends, and these can be configured in mono or stereo. So right now, as you can see, Auxes 1 and 2 are mono, and to assign, let's say, channel 4 to aux 1, I just hit the mix control and I can turn up channel 4 just like that. So these encoders basically become your send levels to each of the Auxes, just like that. However, if I wanted a stereo aux, all I have to do is select one of the two Auxes and hit the link button. And now, when I hit the mix control of 1, this gives me send levels to the stereo aux, and the mix control for aux 2 gives me panning for that stereo aux. In addition to the Auxes, you also get 4 subgroups, and these are actual subgroups, so I can basically assign any channel very easily. Let's say if I wanted to assign channel 30 to subgroup 2, I just hit the select button on channel 30, and then I go over here and assign it to sub 2. Very, very simple. Now let's talk about some of the new features on the StudioLive 32. We have 4 effect sends now. Effects A and B are basically 2 reverbs, and then effects C and D are 2 delays. And of course, within each effects processor, you have multiple reverbs and multiple delays. Another new addition is mute groups. So now this section allows me to program in 6 different presets of mute groups. So first of all, I can have all of the mute groups on like this, turn them all off like this, and then I can have various different mute groups selected like this. In addition, we also have quick scene buttons here. So before, in order to load a scene, you had to go into the menu and basically find a scene and then hit recall. Now you can have your top 6 mix scenes right here on the surface of the console and just hit the button and there it is. Okay, this blue section right here is called the FAT channel, and this is very familiar to a StudioLive user. This is basically all of your EQ and dynamics processing for any selected channel. So if I select any channel, I've got a noise gate, a compressor, a limiter, and a 4-band fully parametric EQ right here. Now, one thing that we've added is this Alt-AB switch, and this is very, very cool. This allows you to have 2 different fat channel presets always loaded on any given channel, okay? So why is this cool? Let me just give you an example. Let's say on channel 25 is our guitar player, and he plays a Les Paul. So I'm gonna go ahead and EQ and compress this channel for that particular guitar. So let's just say, okay, we're gonna throw a little EQ on here, okay? I'm gonna throw a little compression on here, and then that's my setting for this particular guitar. Now, if I go ahead and hit this A-B switch, let's say sometime during the night he's going to switch to a Strat, which requires a totally different EQ. So now I'm going to go ahead and kind of change the EQ and change the dynamics for the Strat. And so now, as you can see, when I hit this A-B switch, it just toggles between those 2 settings. So every single selected channel can have 2 different fat channels loaded all the time. So the 32 channel mixer now has 64 fat channels loaded on every preset. Okay, let's take a look at the back panel of the Studiolive 32. So of course, here's your 32 analog inputs. You also have line inputs and inserts on all 32 channels. In addition, here's your aux outputs right here, subgroup outputs right here, and then different main outputs, control room outputs are located back here. Now, one of the cool things that we did on this board is we have a card right here, and this is the card that actually ships with the board. It gives you FireWire 800 ports on it, so it has a lot more bandwidth than the previous generation of mixers. There's also an Ethernet connection here, and one of the really cool things about this board is now to be able to control it wirelessly using an iPad or an iPhone, you don't have to have a computer with you. You can go directly out of this Ethernet port to a router, and you can connect your iOS devices directly to the board. And you can also set up permissions just directly from the front panel of the console. The other cool thing about this option slot is that there's a Dante and Thunderbolt option. The Dante card will basically give you audio over Ethernet as well as control data. So with a simple Cat5 cable, you can basically connect to a Dante network. The Thunderbolt option will allow you to basically connect to a Thunderbolt compatible PC or Mac. So in addition to what I've just shown you, there's also a host of great software that comes in the box with the Studiolive 32. First of all, you get 2 different recording applications, Capture and Studio One Artist. Secondly, you get a host of analysis tools from Rational Acoustics. So now you're able to tune the room using Smart, and there's several other great wizards that come in the box with the Studiolive. Thirdly, you get Studiolive Remote and Cue, which are our iOS apps free of charge. The Studiolive Remote allows you to mix the show wirelessly using an iPad, and Cue allows you to mix your monitors using an iPhone or an iPod Touch. If you prefer to look at what's happening on your board on a computer screen, you also get VSL, Virtual Studio Live, which allows you to see everything that's happening on your mixer on a laptop or a computer screen. And lastly, you get Nimbit. Nimbit is PreSonus's music distribution platform, which will allow you to take your music files that you've recorded on the Studiolive and quickly publish them to your Facebook page or your website and have them distributed and for sale instantaneously. So that's the Studiolive 32. If you have any other questions, call your Full Compass sales representative today or visit www.fullcompass.com. Thanks.